and welcome to today's webinar, Discovery in the Cloud, the Future of Configuration Management, and brought it by Hewlett-Packard. Next slide, please. Yeah, my name is Sri Dikshitulu. I'm from Accenture, HP Alliance's COE, Center of Excellence, and also I am a Service Management SIG leader. Next slide, please. So today's speakers are Doran Orbach. He's a Senior Product Manager, CMS, and his CMS is a part of like UCMDB and Configuration Management, the Product Manager, and he helped customers are successfully the products as part of an integrated solution with these products such as Service Manager, Asset Manager, and BSM. And Doran has more than 20 years experience in enterprise software R&D divisions and product management side. So the majority of his career is focused on discovery and CMDB tools. And next one is Bill Dyke. He is a product manager in CMS. He is having more than 26 years experience in IT industry, focusing on providing business solutions, utilizing HP software tools at the enterprise scale level, at scale, and as years of first-hand use with discovery and CMDB tools. And next one, Nick Randall. He is a product manager, marketing manager, excuse me, and he works in product marketing for HP CMS and asset management. So given this line of speakers, they are bringing enormous experience and knowledge in the CMDB environment, that is CMS, HP calls. So we are going to have an exciting vivid session at this point of time. So next slide, please. Before going into session, a couple of housekeeping items. Today's live session is intended for all Vivid members, and the recording will be posted in the webinar section on the Vivid website, visible for all members. Additionally, today's slide deck and webinar recording will be made available to you. We will send you the link via email once they are posted to the Vivid website. If you have any questions as we go along, please type and send them in using the questions panel in the webinar control panel. Next slide, please. Here is the control panel screen window. So this is the picture. Usually appears at the upper right hand corner of your screen. Please submit a question. Make sure the question panel is expanded and type your question. Click on send. So let's get started. I will hand over this to Eric.
Thanks, Sri. So welcome everyone. This is Nick Rendell. As Sri said, I lead product marketing for our configuration management system. I want to review the agenda with you today. First off, I'm going to give you some recent trends in cloud and container technology, and as well as kind of tee up the implications that has for configuration management. Doran's going to run through some strategies for successful configuration management in the cloud. And Bill is going to show you some of the real-time event-based cloud discovery capabilities that we recently released and how this can help your cloud configuration management experts. And then at the end, we're going to have live Q&A with all three of us. Any questions you have on the cloud or how configuration management can help you there, there will be plenty of time at the end. But first off, we're going to have a survey to kind of see where your challenges are in the cloud today.
Yeah. today's poll question: what are the main challenges that we are all facing in our cloud architectures? Okay, so there are few options. I know some of the multiple options apply to our environment. First one is visibility of the environment, and the second one is cost to maintain and manage. Next one is security. How do we secure our environments? And other than you may have some specific environment custom related issues in your environment, or don't use the cloud architecture. Suppose you are not using the cloud architectures, you just mark it. Please give us the information, and the poll will run for a few seconds to measure how you guys are, what are your challenges today.
We appreciate you taking the time to fill out this information. I think all of these can be tied back to one way or another to configuration management in the cloud, and so it's going to give us a better idea of how to kind of tailor the angles of our presentation today. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to give one more second. I think you guys are all doing great job. Thank you so much once again. Yeah, I think we can close the poll. The poll results are as expected. This is what we hear from our clients on every day from our company's perspective also. Visibility is 69%. The main question is, what are the main challenges that you are facing cloud architectures today? And visibility, 69%. Definitely we need to have a visibility on the environment. 69%, it makes sense to me. And cost is the 24%. And security, I expected security is 55%. I know financial industry is more looking to the cautious about their environment, so we need to have a security. Next one, lack of resource and expertise is very important one. Okay, that is 52%. Don't use cloud architectures, 14% as expected. Eric, what is your comment on this, given your company's experience?
That's about what we expected, and I think those stats actually directly tie into what I'm about to share with you all next. So very good. Thank you for participating. Perfect. So it's no surprise. I think the cloud and containers are very hot topics in enterprise IT today. So there's a lot of surveys, a lot of good information out there on kind of adoption trends. I'm not going to read through these line by line, but it should be no surprise to you. And just as we saw in our own poll, that private and hybrid cloud adoption are growing greatly, and this is across nearly all enterprises. At the same time, though, the lack of resources and expertise, this was listed as the #1 cloud challenge today. Really no surprise there either. Now, at the same time, though, while there are challenges, there are strategies for saving money with cloud, and this actually is really important later as we talk about our real-time discoveries. This comes from right-sizing licenses, shutting down workloads and storage if they aren't being used. It's not all bad news with the cloud by any means. There's really a lot of opportunities for cost savings there. And finally, and containers are even a more timely and cutting-edge IT topic. Containers are starting to emerge even with enterprise customers, and so in the polls we found online, about 38% of respondents are using containers today, but nearly all enterprise companies are exploring the possibility of doing so in the future, and these have big implications for configuration management as well. So, for all but the 14% of you, you're living in the cloud. Now what? Cloud has grown faster than CMDB systems have. Let's think about what CMDB systems were originally built for. They were originally built to display static information reflecting the state of a system in a given day or a week. The way I like to think about this is think of original CMDBs as taking a photograph at a scheduled time, whether that's every day, every week, hopefully not every month. And with that information, you analyze that photograph. Now, in the dynamic age of constantly changing cloud environments, taking a photograph once a day, once a week is no longer acceptable and going to help you meet your goals. Essentially, we need to move from taking scheduled photographs to taking real-time live video of what's going on in these environments to really be successful there. And the reasons for that are, for what you see on the screen. Taking a scheduled snapshot of your CMDB is not going to track all the changes in the cloud. This has huge implications for asset and service management too, because if you have an incident and it's not being tracked in your CMDB because that change hasn't been tracked in the cloud, it messes up everything in your service management, and the same in asset, for costing and chargeback. So change management, huge implications. Chargeback, related to assets, huge implications. Multi-tenancy, and the whole other discussion of platform as a service. So, I mean, quite frankly, what I'm getting at is the traditional CMDB model, they are not prepared for today's cloud environment, and we really have to think about strategies to change that. And so with that, Daron's going to kind of talk about some of those strategies and what we can do there.
Thank you, Nick. So one of the first questions that we were asked years ago when a customer started to move to the cloud is really, if when I move into the cloud, should I even care about all this information, and should I care about what resources do I have there, and if they are assigned correctly, and should I care to know which software is running all these resources? Or should I simply say, when I move into the cloud, I'm treating it as a black box, and I don't even want to know what I'm managing there. I assume that if it's in the cloud, it's working fine, it's transparent, everything works, somebody else is taking care of it. Now, to any one of you who moved to the cloud or is in transition to do it, the answer has already been proven for years now, which is you should really care about what you're moving to the cloud. And the cloud is not a bulletproof for any guarantee that your resources will run continuously, that you will have the right resources to meet your needs. And you can definitely have wrong configurations in the cloud. You can have wrong setup in the cloud. You can have setup that costs you budgets that are much more than what you expected. For example, if you deploy software without knowledge that you actually deploy it into the cloud, and this might happen due to many reasons. For example, your DevOps teams have decided to use a new software, you didn't know about it, they moved directly and deploy it over a public or a private cloud. It's almost the same when it comes to software costs, and now you need to pay the bill for this activity. So the notion of cloud as a black box where I just move resources and everything is fine and it's cheap is already clear that this is not the case. We need to take control of the resources that we have in the cloud. We need to know what we have in the cloud, and we need to do it in a fashion that will not be isolated and separated. Otherwise, we cannot really enforce enterprise standards and enterprise visibility into these resources. So today what we'll show you is how we think you can achieve this via new tools that we are developing. And this, of course, comes on top of existing paradigms of collecting information, of connecting it together. And now, when we are moving to the cloud, we can also do it much faster and in much more agile way. So first, let's see some of the reasons that you move to the cloud, but also some of the caveats that come with this. So, of course, when we move to the cloud, we have few improvements and few good points, few pros that we look into. First one is, of course, the elasticity of the cloud, the ability to scale on demand, the ability to add more resources when needed, and to cut down resources when they are not needed. Also, the immediate access that we have to these resources. If I want today to establish load balancers with 3 servers running behind it, I can do it now, and it will take me not more than a few minutes to set it up, to go to AWS or to go to Azure or to other public cloud provider, and I have the system up and running, and it can scale, and it's great. The financial benefit, of course, that comes with it, it's important criteria. I first move budgets from capital expense to operational expense, which is usually good. And I also can pay for what I use. If I don't use, I don't pay. And this is also, of course, reflects a benefit that I have. And the last is we cannot ignore, cloud resources are usually reliable. When I move to the cloud, I trust Microsoft or I trust Amazon that they will keep their SLAs and that I will have the service up and available usually on these SLAs, unless there will be really, like we've seen in the past few major disasters that brought together complete zones, but usually it doesn't happen. So usually I can rely on the cloud to be available for me and for my customers. But some things are not as good as they seem to be on the cloud. So the first thing, and you observe it quite easily, is the lack of visibility and the lack of control. With the move to the cloud, I open the gates for more users to get access and to deliver. It's not just now me as an IT deliver the services that I used to deliver to my customers, but different groups apply methodologies of DevOps and can open direct accounts and put their credit card of their line of business, and now they have data in the cloud which I don't control and I don't know what is running. And of course, it's a matter of lack of visibility to what we are putting, to what security does it have, to how many resources do I use, what will be the check, and to which internal components are being used in the cloud. It's not just the servers, it's the software that runs on top of the server, it's the amount of time that it's running, it's setting up things, it's easy. Taking them down, it's harder when you don't know what you have out there. So these were the first issues that we saw 10 years ago when with the move to virtualization and with the move to much more elasticity, and it's becoming much predominant in the cloud area. And another cost that we often ignore is the cost of moving services and applications to the cloud. So I have a service running now on premise and I want to move it to cloud. This is of course a project by itself. I need to know which resources I have. I need to be able to isolate them into, if you want, group moves, to group them into groups that I can move into the cloud. So I really need to have the visibility that spans not just to the public cloud world or to the private cloud world, but that starts from the on-premise resources that I have into the cloud. So I can now look into all my organization in a comprehensive way and understand what can move to the cloud, what already moved to the cloud, and when it moves to the cloud, I can continue and manage it in the cloud in the way that it needs to be managed in the cloud. And with this, we will see now how can the configuration manager can really help us to give us more control on some of the areas that you see in this red rectangle. Nick? Let's move to the next slide and we'll see how configuration manager gives us this thing. So the 4 items that configuration manager really give us are the points that we identify in red. It gives us the visibility to see the resources that we have in the cloud. With the configuration management system, you can now identify and see resources in public cloud, in AWS, in Azure, and in more. Of course, it can also give us the same visibility into the private cloud. And it's not just visibility that we tell you, here are your resources, and we show them and we put them in, this is what you have in AWS and this is what you have in Azure. Because this is not where things should stop. What we do is we try to contextualize them into which services do they responsible for. So if you have resources in AWS, or if you have resources in Azure, or if you're running your own resources, managing them via OpenStack or via other private cloud enablement, maybe vCloud or other offering, you should tell what purpose do they make in my organization. Do they serve this service? Do they have, are they served for testing? Are they served for development? Or are they serve a different production service? So with the visibility that configuration management system gives you, by means of discovery of this data or integration of this data from other systems, we're able to bring it together into one picture and of course later share it with other resources. And from this visibility, of course, comes the aspect of control. Once you manage these resources and you can see them, you can now not just use them inside this configuration management system, but you can use them in the context of processes and services that you manage. And in the traditional IT, give you business value and help you to keep your environment managed and under compliance. And I'm talking about processes of managing your asset management. We can share this information with tools of asset management that can help you control cost, understand which asset you manage, understand which software is running on this asset, and how much license do you have for the software, and so on. And processes, other processes that are important are, of course, the ability to manage service management on top of them. So if you need to manage a change request, and if you need to manage incident, and to manage these activities, you can do it not just on the on-premise resources, but also on the cloud resources. And the last, which is of course very important as well, is to manage the availability of the systems and to do it via monitoring in a comprehensive way, having one business dashboard, business value dashboard that you can use to look and see how are the resources available to manage the services. Cost, of course, is another aspect that is critical for this management. Part of the reason that we mentioned of moving to the cloud is, of course, managing the cost, controlling it, moving it to subscription cost and operational cost, and not having huge capital cost. And of course, for managing this cost, you really need to know what you have out there. You need to know what are all the resources that you manage. You need to know which resources are there, but they are not being used anymore, so you can undeploy them and be able to stop using them. But you also need to knowledge of what are the resources that you have on premise to know if you have, for example, if you move a service and now you have 20 servers that are unutilized, this is of course a cost, hidden cost that you're having, that you're not using. It's also a security problem because there will be a point of time when you stop managing them and these servers will become a weak point in your security of the organization. So you really need to know which resources were already moved to the cloud and now you can reutilize them in other areas, or if needed to retire them and to stop using them in the operation. So this is really talking about also how you transition your resources into the cloud, which is the last point of visibility. So the view from the on-premise resources into groups that you can look into what they are doing on the on-premise and decide how you move them to be served either in a public cloud or in a private cloud environment. So with this, let's see a little bit, let's get more down into the details of what we deliver in the cloud environment. The way that we see it in HP, there are 4 stages when we talk about the maturity of what you discover and collect about the cloud. The first level is easy. You don't run a discovery on the cloud. You don't know which resources you have there. You might have separated and isolated knowledge about your cloud resources because you will have, of course, when you move to AWS or to Azure, you will have the tools that they give you to control it, so you are never with zero visibility. So we call this state that you have a lack of coordinated control over the cloud resources. You have isolated pockets of visibility into the cloud, but there is no central way that you look into the resources. The next level is when you start to use the API leverage that these resources give you into bringing all the information together into one system. It might be a third-party vendor system that uses it. It might be your own tools where you keep track of all the resources and bring it into one comprehensive view. In this scenario, you only manage what you get to see, which is usually the zones, the resources that apply, and this information about specific resources. But you still lack the what you would traditionally get with discovery and CNDB tools, which is the dependency and the correlation of all this information into which resources are depending on another and talk with one another and are making up one service and one view. And in order to do this, you need the tools that are provided by Discovery. For example, the HP Discovery tools can go into these resources and get this information about I'm a node in the cloud, with whom do I talk and which service do I serve when I'm doing this. So you get a full map that describes the dependencies and connections in the cloud. And the last area where we think it's currently the most mature visibility into the cloud, it's not just to do these activities at one point in time, like Nick mentioned before, with the notion of I run it once a week or once a day, but to really have and get this visibility when things are really changing. So if a node was added or was removed from the cloud, you should be able to get it immediately by seeing this node immediately when it was changed in the cloud. And this magic will soon see it happening live, and Bill will demonstrate it in a demo. We'll show you how we actually do it, which is usually by connecting to the system and listen to events that it shares with us about things that went up and things that were down. And this is the level of maturity where we think you can actually start to really manage resources in the cloud in the way that the cloud wants you to manage them, in an agile way, in a fast way, in a dynamic way, and not just to keep static pictures of the cloud as it looks each few hours. So let's look a little bit more into depth into the technology. So when we talk about cloud, we look currently about discovering these types of cloud in public cloud and in private cloud. So as I said, that we are able to manage cloud environments, both of AWS and Azure. On the private cloud, we manage many different environments, vCloud, OpenStack, Cloud Foundry, and Docker, which is one of the growing trends in the industry as we see it. And of course, the combination of Docker and cloud, deploying Docker containers into the cloud is also now taking more and more customers. We see that they are moving to the cloud and moving via deployment of Docker containers into the cloud. So when customers are doing this both in private cloud and in public cloud, we believe that they eventually want to get to the same visibility, which is seeing the resources that they have, managing the software that they have on the resources, understanding which software they have on these resources. On the next level, understanding what are the dependencies between these resources and how does it relate to their business services. And the last thing is they want to get it in real time and not just sit and wait for the next day to see what happened yesterday, which is almost like eating a fresh bread but waiting for it tomorrow. We want to see it now. We want to see the things when they're fresh and when they're changing, and to keep tracking the history of this and to know what did we have yesterday and what do we have today. And this is our goal when we move to the public cloud. So let's see how it really happens before we move into the demonstration of this. Or before this, I forgot, we have one slide that talks about how do we really do the Docker discovery. So Docker is an interesting case because Docker is, of course, it's a new trend, but it's picking up very quickly. So we decided to not wait to the major adoption of all the enterprises with Docker, and we started it very early, working also with Docker directly, engaging with them. And we got to some very nice visibility into the Docker ecosystem. And we do it in two ways. One is we thought that the first thing that customers want to know is what software do they run on these Docker containers that they have. Because this is where the major first thing that customers will pay for. You deploy Docker, you either Oracle instances, you need to pay for these Oracle instances. It doesn't matter that they were delivered in Docker. You still need to pay for it. Same, of course, go for other vendors. This is just an example. So what we do is we have the ability to look into where you register your Docker images. This is the place where all the Docker images go to sleep, I will call it, before you run them in the environment. And we look into these Docker images and are able to say for each Docker image, what is the software that is actually going to run on it when you will deploy it into the environment. And the next step that we can do is actually to look into the environment and to say, we saw that you run these Docker images in these containers. So these are the places, this is the hardware where these Docker images are running. And now because you already know what is inside these Docker images, you are able to tell what is the Docker container is running on and which software is running on. So this combination of understanding what do you have on the Docker registry on the one hand and what do you have in the real-time environment lets us to tell you what is the software inventory that you have there so you can manage your software asset management cost. And of course, on top of this, we give the same clarity that I discussed before, which is how does it all connect to one big picture of dependency and between resources and the services that they manage, so you can manage it in your environment, either for monitoring or for change management, when you want to know the impact of taking down Docker. Will it impact my services? Which service will be impacted? So all of this we can tell you because we know where the Docker containers are running on. We know it in the runtime. We know it based on event. We know it immediately. And we also know what they are running, which software they are running, so we know how to tell you what you need to look out when you do it. So the way that things are running, let's see how things are actually running in this event, just to give the context of how fast and how agile it is. So really, I won't get too much into technical details, but from architectural point of view, we have a node that is new node into the environment. It might be on Docker or vCloud. And what we do is we operate a listener that constantly listens to these events. So we have this event listener, it listens. It filters the events to understand that these are the events that we want to listen to. Usually it's when a new node is added or when a node is deleted. And then this information immediately flows into the configuration management system. And from the configuration management system, it also immediately flows into external products that are integrated to it. It might be HPE product, it might be third-party product, but when you integrate the CMS to other products, we'll immediately flow this information to the other products, usually via the API of the other system, and we let the system have it. And with this, I think we are ready to move to the I suggest, Nick, before we talk about this, let's do the demo, and then we'll talk more about a little bit about the version and conclude with the slides.
Okay. My name is Bill Dyke. I work with Nick and Doron. I'm a product manager for the CMS tools as well. And what I'll be doing today is giving you a demo of how this stuff actually works. And we're doing this in real time. So what you see on the screen right now is the USeemToBe browser. It is showing a service that we've called product ordering. And so this is a live view.
Bill, excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're not showing the screen yet. There it comes. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right, so what you see on the screen is the USeemToBe browser. The interface right now is showing a business service that we've created. And what we're doing is taking you through a model of a business service that a company might have associated with their ordering environment. Product ordering is what we've titled it. And what we're going to show you as a demo is what would happen in the case of a company that has just released a new product or is hitting a time frame like Black Friday, and their current capabilities in the back end are not providing sufficient resources to be able to handle the load of orders that are coming into the company. So you can see that we have this business service called product ordering. That's made up of three cloud servers that are, in this case, we're using OpenStack as the environment. We have an ordering server, we have a fulfillment server, and we have a processing server. So if you think about it, orders would come in, they would be processed, and then once processed, they would be fulfilled and sent out. So in the case that we're talking about right here, we're indicating that in this company's time frame right now, this new product has come out, and their front end, the ordering environment, isn't sufficient. The server is starting to slow down. They need additional resources. And so I'm going to be using a tool called OpenStack to simulate the cloud. And quite literally, these are cloud-based servers. These are actually sitting on Microsoft Azure. And so what would happen in an automated form, which I'm going to just demonstrate manually here, is that if a new ordering server needed to be brought up, that server would be, the need would be detected, and the cloud would generate another order or another ordering server. So in this case, what I'm doing is manually selecting what that server is going to look like, and that should do it. And then you'll see that in the screen, it's starting to go through the process of actually creating that particular order, that server. And so ordering 2 is the name of the server, and it's spawning. So what happens during this time now is that, as Doron showed, there is an event monitor that's going on inside of USeemToBe, and it's tracking what is happening in the environment, and it's filtering through all of the different events that happen that are coming from this particular environment. And as soon as this thing has finished spawning, within the minute, we should be able to see the fact that Universal Discovery has recognized that this server now exists, and then has added this to that particular business service that we were talking about. And so I need to give it a little bit of time and see how things are going. So during this time, the customer orders have been kind of impacted, and we'll see if it's actually showing up here yet or not. And as a result of that, we're waiting for that server to actually appear. So, see if I've got it here yet. Don't you love live demos? We'll see this here in a second. There we go. All right. So what has happened is an additional server was added to this whole business service, and that is now providing the function of ordering. And so we, in the purpose of this demo, the 2 servers online for ordering have actually been sufficient to be able to manage all of the orders coming in, but now they've processed, but now they're actually trying to go through the fulfillment process, and the system has realized that it needs another fulfillment server. Oops, there we go. To be able to handle the demand of all of the servers all of the orders that actually came into the system, and we'll launch that server. But at the same time, the ordering limit, the number of orders that are coming in, they've gone through the initial peak, and we no longer need that server. And so what we'll do is we'll say, in this particular environment, the cloud would say, all right, let's not waste resources. Let's get rid of the resources that we don't need anymore. And so in this case, I'm going to remove that particular server from this environment, basically take it down. Come on. The system's, my cloud environment is running a little slow. There we go. Okay, so I'm removing the ordering server. I've also added the fulfillment server. And so as we watch what's going to be happening here, in the environment, we should be able to see one new server come in, and in a relatively short time after that, we should be able to see one server actually go away. So let's see what this has done. All right, so you see here that the fulfillment server has been added to the product ordering business service, and it's now taking on the managing all the orders that came in. And at the same time, we should be seeing pretty soon here that the server that we just added, the ordering to server, should be deleted. So let's see if that's refreshed yet or not as well. There we go. All right. So in this case, you see the ordering to server has been taken away, and the fulfillment server 2 has come in, and all of this content has been captured inside of UCNV and is available for you to be able to understand and to evaluate what content has been used. The processes that you would have that move this data back and forth all had an opportunity to be able to send that data to the various systems and to track them. And in the case of this particular demo, since UCNB has recognized and captured this event, the fact that these servers existed gave the Universal Discovery the opportunity to be able to do deeper discovery on these systems to understand how are their servers configured and what software is actually run on it. So you'll understand what software you use for that period of time and how long you used it in the case of software asset management. Okay. So with that, I'm going to flip back to the conversation. We finished the actual conversation part of this whole webinar as well as the demonstration. Are there questions that people would have?
Nick, before this, I think we had another slide that we jump on, which is the 1030 release.
Yeah.
So just as to summarize the things, Nick, if you can get it to one slide before. So this functionality that we presented today is part of the configurations management system 10.30. The context of which we released just actually this week, beginning of this week it was released. The configuration management 1030 can do the event-based live discovery of cloud. Of course, we have models of cloud also in older versions, but in this version we got to the completeness of this ability to discover the cloud environments, private and public cloud, and both with the event-based. And all of this is based on the technology that is already pretty much very pervasive in the market of universal discovery that includes both agent-based or agentless activities that can be combined into one discovery. The UCMDB, very high scalable CMDB with up to 150 million CIs in relationship. This is a huge CMDB. It can serve very large enterprise environment with multiple data centers and tens of thousands of servers and hundred thousands of end users workstation. And the UCMDB browser, which is the component that built just a demo where we can see the components, we can search for them, and we can get a complete and comprehensive picture of this both cloud and on-premise environments together in the same system that is also, of course, integrated very closely with other systems via RESTful API or via other ways to push or pull data from the system. And I think that now we're ready to move to the next stage.
Yeah, thank you, Darren. We have a lot of questions in the chat room. I think it's a very good topic. It's relevant to everyone. So before getting to all the questions, I want to pick them up, some of them randomly in this context. This is a very important question in my view. Is the cloud discovery part of the universal discovery offering, or we need a different license for it? This is a wonderful question. This is the client asks. Once again, is the cloud discovery part of the universal discovery offering, or we need a different license?
Yeah, I can take this one. Yeah, actually, the cloud discovery is actually part of the universal discovery licensing. So the same license that manage standard resources on-premise can also manage the discovery of resources on the cloud. So customers that have universal discovery can use it for both on-premise resources and for cloud resources, private or public clouds.
Okay. And next one is, can we use the data we discover for the cloud in our ITSM solution? Basically, we have some homegrown solutions. So how do we use this CMDB product?
I can take that one. So when you discover the content in UCMDB from the cloud, and so universal discovery will be the process of will capture the information. It'll store it in UCMDB. Once it's in UCMDB, any integration that you can use can move that data to any location. And so if you're using Service Anywhere or Service Manager, it's a simple push of the data. If you're using your own data for an ITSM type solution, as long as there's a way to be able to get the data to your system, which we support many different ways to do that, there would be no reason you couldn't use it. The data is in UCMDB and available to push to any system that can consume it.
Thank you. So next question, can we combine data that we discover in the cloud with the data we discover on-premise into one system? This is kind of hybrid scenario. Very good question this is. Can we combine data that we discover in the cloud with the data that we discover on-premise into one system?
Yeah, I would say that this is actually one of the main advantages of a system like configuration management system that traditionally grew on-premise and now extend itself into the cloud, is that it's really one view for all the resources. So we can combine data from on-premise and data in the cloud, and even when there is a system that talks one to another from on-premise to the cloud, if this happens, we can identify this relationship and combine and really show all the resources, cloud and non-cloud, as one comprehensive view. So the answer is definitely yes.
Okay. Okay, can I move to the audience's questions? Few of them are there, very interesting questions. Let me start with first one. How is the relationship context derived from just the provisioning event coming from OpenStack?
Yeah. So this is actually usually a two-step approach. The first one is the event that tells us the existence of a new component in the cloud system, which is good knowledge. But if we want to add more context into this, what we do is in the immediate time that this event comes and the new node appears, we have a triggering system that triggers the next steps, which is to go out and to interrogate this node for more information, and interrogating it for more information means that we go out and find what is the software that runs on it, what are the relationships that he has, which configuration he has, and from this secondary interrogation of the system, we can find out much more in-depth information than what we had with the first event that we get from the cloud system.
Yeah, thank you, Doran. I think I didn't ask the subsequent question. Same gentleman asked us. Okay, so not only the event, but also the immediate discovery. I think you answered. By the way, guys, these answers will be recorded and presented in the slide deck web recorded sessions. You will get it. So we will go through whatever we have at this time. We will go through these questions quickly, all of them. Next question, please. How did UCMDB get triggered to run discovery to capture the new server? Where is the event monitored? Inside UCMDB. Like many questions are there, just let's stay with this up to this level. How did UCMDB get triggered to run discovery to capture the new server? Where is the event monitored? Inside UCMDB.
So what's actually happening is when I set up all of this demo, I used a tool called the UCMDB admin GUI, which isn't something that I showed. It's something that an administrator would use. It's not something that a person who is consuming the data would use. And when I set this up, I linked the discovery to the messaging queue, the RabbitMQ server for that event, for that OpenStack environment. And so by doing that, there's a job that is running in the background all the time that is listening to those events as Doran had showed you. And so it's capturing all the events, and many events are occurring that are not necessary for UCMDB to actually do any activity, but when Universal Discovery filters out and captures an event that says I've created a server, it then parses out the data in that event and creates the data inside of UCMDB so that you can see it as I showed. So it's, in summary, it's Universal Discovery is continuously monitoring the message queue of OpenStack or of any of the message queue systems we support, and then when it finds something that is it knows how to, it finds an event that it can deal with, like a creation event or a change in configuration or a deletion event, it will then cause that action to be represented in CIs inside of UCMDB.
Yeah, thank you. I think many other questions are there. The interest of other people's questions, just we are moving on, and we will be answer remaining questions because there are 4 to 5 questions are remaining in there. So next question, how to manage a very dynamic cloud native environment where containers may live only a few minutes. Does it make sense after all to manage such a very dynamic environment? Nick?
It makes sense, and actually we get this request from our customers. So we've seen customers that ask us because the when compliance come in, for example, I'll just give one example. When compliance come in for software, and they ask you, so how did you know how often you run this instance of the software, and do you run it at all? Because we see that you have self-provision to the cloud and you have DevOps groups. If you don't, if you are not able to prove them that you are tracking these resources, even the short-lived one, the one that live 3 hours or 4 hours, then you're much more exposed to the risk of this compliance check and the lack of knowledge and the lack of comprehensive management of the software that you run might be running against you in this case. So this is just one example of software compliance, which I think is relevant. And the way that we choose to manage it is via the event base. Now, of course, there are cases that in certain environment, you might say, I don't really need it, maybe in testing or development. So we really need to operate it in a smart way to listen to where we need and to filter what is not needed. But there's definitely application and use cases where listening and capturing these changes and these fast changes is really important.
Okay, thank you. So next question is, anything new for ASM in 10.30?
Yes, ASM is automated service modeling. I guess this is a question from a customer, but there is definitely a lot new for ASM, and we make the automated service discovery with much more content and with capabilities to discover more accurately the content and to present services as they really are in the environment in faster way. So we definitely see more and more progress and success with service modeling and the automation part of it.
Thank you. Our next question is a very interesting question. Are there any additional license costs for cloud discovery other than UD full license?
No, UD full license cover the cloud discovery, so we just, a customer will need to ensure that he has sufficient license for the, usually we charge per operating system, so per the number of operating system, there needs to be a license, but it's the UD standard license, UD full license, universal discovery full license that needs to be applied.
Okay. It's covered in such. The next question, I seen this. I see that you have Amazon Web Services listed as functional with version 10.30. Is it truly functional for discovery? The discovery package for 10.20 is not functional.
So I didn't understand the question.
The question is, I see that you have Amazon Web Services listed as functional with version 10.30. And that is what we've seen in the slide deck. That is it truly functional for discovery? Then the discovery package for 10.20 is not functional. Means there basically confirmation is 10.0 is not functional for Amazon services.
Okay, so yeah, it is functional, and I guess if the question was asked, it's coming from some context that I'm not aware of, so I suggest to maybe take it offline with the guy who questioned it, and we can take it offline, and if you can, please shoot me an email, the guy who sent it, and to understand why it should function also in 10.22, so I just want to ensure that we address and resolve any issue if there is, so, but yeah, it is functional in 10.30.
Thank you, Darren. Please send us the question to our email ID or something. You will find it email IDs, and we will investigate and get back to you. We're moving on to the next one. Can cloud discovery and standard infrastructure discovery be done in parallel? Can cloud discovery and standard infrastructure discovery be done in parallel? Good question.
Yeah, this is Bill. And so all of this content can happen at the same time. It's one system that is performing discovery in various different ways. And so one of the benefits of universal discovery is that it could exist in a hybrid model before. From an agent perspective, you could either deploy an agent and have the agent report back information, or you could contact the server from universal discovery and get data. That same concept applies to cloud and physical and event-based and regular discovery. All of it can happen with the same system at the same time. And so what you would do is just in the administrative GUI, you would launch the discovery patterns that you're interested in, and it will go take care of all of the content and where it's coming from, and whether it's event-based or standard behind the scenes. You really don't have any activity or action that you have to do to be able to manage that.
Okay, thank you. There now time check. Now it's 11 a.m. PST. Do we have a time? There are more questions. Or this is the last question. I can close this call and we can respond it. What is your choice, Nick, Roran? You want to go run through questions, or we will close this session after this question?
Since we actually have so many questions, we'll go to 10 past the hour. At a given time, we'll cut it off for everyone, trying to be respectful of time. So if you have questions unanswered, please stay on the line and we'll try to get to them. If not, we'll likely respond by email. Thank you.
Yeah, we will respond by email. Just this is the last question, and then we wrap it up because we need to close and get the poll questions, etc. Okay, this is the last question. How do you respond to customers raising overhead and security monitoring issues raised by the presence of UD tools on the network? Had government customer raise both as a reason not to deploy?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I haven't seen a single installation of a discovery tool of CMDB, UD, or other tools that doesn't require the discussion with the security teams. It's always come up as a topic that should be come up because discovery tool does require the cooperation and the approval of the security team. And the way that we usually manage is by going to and showing. First, it runs on already thousands of customer sites. It also runs in very, very secure areas. We have a very in-depth security testing that we do for these products in-house and verifications. And we can having these discussions with many customers and can eventually assure them and prove them that this product is very secure and can operate in, again, as I said, in a very secure environment, in manufacturing environments, and in a very sensitive and critical environment. So if there are more specific details that are needed, I will be happy to provide them offline, of course.
Yeah, thank you so much. And time check 11:05. We need to close the session. Thank you for attending today's webinar, everyone. Please be sure to complete the short survey after the webinar ends and opt in to receive more information from Hewlett Packard Enterprise. And this is and one more. I think Bill, you wanted to go through this opportunity to meet you guys and get more discussions in Discover London?
Yeah, no, it's actually we are going to have we hopefully invite all of you to be in the Discover London, which is the bi-yearly. We have 2 times in a year where we present our product, one in EMEA and one in USA. So this event in London, we will feature not just, of course, the configuration management system. We will feature it in the context of other products and how it integrates with other products, with IT service management, with Operation Bridge, and you will be able to see how we actually really do this discovery, do this service mapping, the automated service mapping, share this information with others, and go and look into the future of these tools. And as they work as part of other bundle and other suites that we deliver. So invite all of you to attend this, where you will have demo booths of this and live sessions from us and from our customers. So this is happening on the dates that are mentioned, I think, over here on the left side of the slide, November 29 to December 1. And registration, I think, is open already, of course, and you have also the ability to get, I think, codes from running from Vivid.
Yeah.
I think you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, Darren, guys, as a Vivid member, we all get the discount, and it is, you guys can go and register in hp.discover, where you get member discount, and there you can go to your management and top 10 reasons why you need to be there in this session, because this is the place where you get an opportunity to meet all these experts and also you can make sure that you can accelerate next with the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Transformation Advisors, how to transform your environments into hybrid environments, how to use this kind of tools, top-notch industry tools like UCMDB. So this is a great opportunity. This is the reason you need top 10 reasons. This is one of the reasons I was talking about. Another 9 reasons you can go and get the reason to attend into this seminar, in this Discover. And we are all looking forward to meet you guys, and please be there, and we will answer all your questions. And if you have any questions, please send us the email, and here a short survey that is hpe.com and vivit-worldwide.org. As you guys know, please send us, please give us the information so that we can be better in serving you and take care of your educational information needs. Thank you so much.